Hey guys, it's Venom. A little chat here coming up, so if you're wanting to skip ahead to the actual training, I posted the timestamps in the description below. For those willing to stick around, here we go. So we have a little bit of a video today, and by little bit, I mean the majority of a goalkeeper training session that SirDimwi was gracious enough to help me out with. Goalkeeping has been a position I feel like I've neglected in my tutorial videos, mostly because my expertise is pretty limited there. As I said, Dim did a phenomenal job coaching during this session. I'm really glad he let me record it. However, there is a lot of information in here. I've been trying to figure out the best way to edit this for the last week, and to be honest, I just couldn't find a better way without taking 2 or 3 weeks to build up the footage necessary. So I know you guys have been patient with me between videos, but I'd rather not wait that long between them. The good news is there is another project I'm working on, and you should see that being posted sometime next week. Anyway, rather than sitting on this any longer, I figured it would be best just to get that information out to our aspiring goalkeepers. At some point I plan on breaking this down into a 5 to 10 minute video. Trust me, I know how long your attention spans are, so that goalkeeper video will be similar to the way I've recorded my shooting and boosting tutorials. I don't want to go too long here, so I have one last shout out to Dim. If you guys are interested in hearing an Echo Arena ESPN style podcast, Dim has you covered. He runs a Twitch channel called The Echo where he and a group of guests talk over some of the anticipated matches for that week, and it's really interesting to hear some of their predictions. If you want to check it out, there's a link to it in the description. Go give him a follow, and let's get started.
Well, so you're skipping over the most important part of being your team's goalkeeper.
Very possible.
And this is a team thing. All right, this is when you're on a goalkeeper as a team, and Venom, it'll bonk you in the head as I say it. You should never be quiet on your team's back line, ever. If you are not talking, chances are you're wrong. Okay, you should be talking basically the whole game. You're the narrator, right? You can see the whole field of action from right here. You know, so like you got a guy over here defending this guy, you know, but he doesn't want to leave the bubble yet, but he's defending his spot. He's not seeing all this other stuff going on. So he has no idea that there's a guy sneaking in under him that's open for a pass right now. So maybe he needs to swap out for that guy, but he doesn't know he's there. Who's going to tell him? You are. You're in goal. You can see the guy sneaking in. You can tell him who's got his back turned to you. Hey, there's a guy down low left. You know, and now it's up to him. I don't know. You know, some teams will have it like the goalie will actually tell him guard low left, or he'll just announce it. Guy low left, person low left, player low left, and the team will figure out who's got that assignment. But you should be always running your mouth when you're in the goal or anywhere on the back line. As your team's moving up, when you come out, you should be telling them where their open pass options are. You should be telling them where the coverage is. You should be telling them if there's a goalie, if you can see the goal. Sometimes you're not going to see everything. There's a lot of stuff in the way, and that's all right. But you should be telling your team about everything you see. And if they're getting annoyed with you, either one, maybe you're being too long-winded about it, which is good. Brevity is good. Brevity being keep everything concise and short. You know, you want to be like open pass right ghost, right? You don't want to be like, there's a guy open to the right there on that block. He's open for a pass. You know, you don't want to be doing that. You just want to be concise and to the point. You know, open right, open left, guy on seal. Also, calling for help. Let's say there's a guy who's literally on the backboard here, and no one's coming to cover him. You just call for help. I need help. I need help. You know, get someone to come help you at goal, help protect you, help keep that guy off of you. Give someone to attack him. You know what I mean? Because there's teams like Kangaroos, their whole offensive strategy is based around shutting down that goalie, is getting a guy on him to stun him out. So sometimes you need help. And I actually got the help thing from Joker. I won't say how. That's what they do. Kong, when he's in goal and he's being assaulted, he literally in calm says, I need help in goal. I need help. I need help. And someone on the team will come help him. The other thing, when your teammate's helping you goal, they need to stay out of the actual goal plane, though, because it's easier to grab your teammate than it is the disc. That's the big thing. Always be. You're basically the default field general. You're the quarterback. I mean, not always. Some teams will go with a different quarterback. But 9 times out of 10, if you're the goalie, you're probably also playing quarterback, and you're literally the team's quarterback. Now, you don't have to be the one calling the plays, but once you're out in the field, you're the general. You're the guy who's able to direct things. Because even if you're a team captain who might be the guy calling all the plays, If he's over there in right tube, there's a lot of stuff he can't see. There's a lot of stuff he's got to pay attention to. He's probably covered here. You know, half the time you've got no one on you. You can just look around and see see everything, right? So you become that default voice, the narrator. I call it narrator. It's like that's the position. You're the narrator, and you're narrating what's going on. That's the most important thing about playing goal. That communication. That if you're not communicating on your team, that communication alone, you will see a massive, massive difference the moment you start communicating. So stretches,
what about warm-up? What about warm-up? Does goalie have a special warm-up?
Yeah, a special warm-up? No. Well, it depends. I like to, when I first get in, so one thing, I call it, and Venom will know what I'm talking about, I call it Calibrenics, where it's not calisthenics, but it's like an initial warm-up where you take your personal disc, and you just float around and bounce it off of stuff, right? And the point of this is just to get your brain calibrated to the VR world, because you've spent all day in the real world, and now you're coming here to fake world. You need to calibrate your brain to fake world. But part of that, when I'm playing in a game, is when I first get in, one of the things I'll do is, you saw me doing it when I first got here, I'll start doing stuff like this. And the point isn't to dance and feel cool or whatever. The point is, let's say you're under assault, right? Someone's coming in to stun you out, but they're looking to send a shot in. Maybe you could shield, but that, maybe that's only going to hold on for so long, right? At some point, you're going to have to juke. This simple rotation, going around like this, just going around the side, spinning around, is just keeping it random. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. That in and of itself can help you get away from that attacker. And then you can try to time that, like you see a shot coming. I'm going to do a little juke here. Shot's on its way. I come out to save the shot. And, 1 out of 10 times you make the save. 1 out of 5 if you're good. If you're dash, 1 out of 4. So that's why I'm doing that. And it's not just to train myself to do it. It's to make it so when I'm doing it in a game under a high-pressure situation, I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Also,
I'm just doing it. It's just reflex.
Recharge your shield as well, right?
Yeah.
So if your shield runs out, you can recharge it and then put it back up.
Because that's the big thing is that shield. When you're looking at, when they're trying to drive in on you, let's say the team's trying to set up a coordinated 3, they're going to send someone in on you, and you're going to have to throw that shield up and just wait. And you just got to wait. But then that shield's going to pop out, so you got to start moving around, get away from that guy. To get good at making saves off that backboard, shooting off the backboard. Knowing how the bounces go, knowing what the disc looks like on the way in, and knowing what it's going to look like after the bounce. You're going to see over time, and it's happening more and more, you're going to see more no-look backboard saves from goalies over the coming months and years. And it's because that's how easy it is to read the backboard. If you know where the shot's coming from, you know exactly where the shot's headed, right? So you don't need to look. You know exactly where you need to put your hand to make that save. iBlood Sports got one just the other day. That was pretty dope. I've gotten more than one. I'm not saying I'm so good. I got no look. I'm saying it's that easy. It's just look right now. It's impressive because not everyone's doing it, but everyone's going to be doing it once they realize how easy it is to read that backboard. Because it's the most predictable. This is the most predictable part of the arena. Is that right there? More predictable than a head-on shot. Because a head-on shot, you don't know where it's going to be going until he releases it, and then you have 1/10 of a second to react. Backboard, it's already released. You know where it's hitting. You know where it's going. So that's why backboard shooters are gonna be more and more commonly the worst shooters, because it's too easy. It's too easy to read it in the arena. Good.
Quick question. Which one bothers you the most, speed or position on the disc when somebody throws?
Speed.
The placement of the shot, yeah.
Speed. Hands down, speed. Because
what do you call speed? 17 or
19.
18, 19? 19, okay.
19. 19 is when it becomes like ping is going to beat you more than the shot itself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, at least for NA. I know Europe, you have better ping than we do, but generally 19. I know when someone has thrown a 19 at me because it looks different.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's why it's the speed limit, because I think that is the limit of what they can do with their programming before ping just takes over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's the limit for a specific reason. 19 for a reason. And it looks different. So speed definitely. Placement. I mean, placement will beat you. You know what I mean? If you're set up for if they're coming in, you know, and I'm leaving that right one open. When I guard here, I'm leaving that one open in particular, although not as open as it looks because I can you know reach for it. But this is actually more open than that.
Would you do that on purpose? Is leave something open so you would actually go for it and you know it's going there?
I didn't originally. I do now. Okay. I started doing this organically just because it put me closer to the shooter. But then I realized it does bait that far side corner. It leaves it wide open. You know what I mean? That becomes really pretty.
Yep.
You know, so you open that up. You can use it. It's not so much. I wouldn't call it a bait. It's more of one of the ways you have to look at playing goal is because it's not like hockey. You're not going to make 90% of save. You know, you're not going to have a 90% save rate. You know, if you look at like pub save rates, 20% is considered really good, right? That's considered really good. So that's how hard it is to play goalie. So what you want to be looking at is not your save rate, not saving every shot, is playing the odds. It's like playing poker. You have some control, but only a little bit. And that's what you have to play. You have to play the odds. So when I'm set up like this, it's not that I'm intentionally baiting it. It's that I know there's a higher chance they're going to send it there. And so I'm prepping for that. But I also need to be prepared for the high corner. This low slot here is one of the most popular locations just because it's hard to reach. It's hard to get down. It's easier to go up. You know, it's easier to throw yourself than it is to bend. For most people anyways. I know for me it is. And the other thing, it's about, because since I'm there, so some people will say that this is a style of goalie and this is a style of goalie. It's not true. These are just two different anchors. These are just two different locations. Some people prefer one over the other. I prefer to play here. Some people prefer to play here. But people who play here will often end up here for certain situations, and people who play here will often end up there for certain situations. Just like people who dive are just as likely to make some saves as people who prefer to make saves are just as likely at some point they're going to dive, right? Yeah, there's different styles, but they're all in your toolbox. So every single one of these anchors are vitally important. Vitally important. Now, it's not a matter of, like, in hockey, they would say, you know, come out, like, let's say Venom's looking to take a shot. They would tell you to come out to here in hockey to cut down the angle. Because by coming out to here, you're making yourself bigger to them, which ultimately covers more of the goal. We don't have that benefit. We have a head and two hands. That's it. Now, I do tend to be, I'm a dive goalie. I challenge shooters. That's my go-to move. He's coming in. The moment he crosses that line, I pop out at him. I'm looking to make a grab and a stunt. All right, and I'll actually explain how that works. But before I get to that, the other thing you can do is you feign an attack. Let's say Venom's about to come in at you, and he expects you to attack him, right? So I come out, boom, I come back. I can try to make that save. Because what will happen is he's going to try to time that shot to right before I get to him. But if right before I get to him, I turn myself back, it's gonna throw him off, but he's already committed to the shot, so he's taking that shot no matter what if he's committed to it. And I'm more likely to make that stop. And a lot of goalies utilize, who was it talking about? Was it Sports? I think it was I Blow Sports. He's talking about he does that. There's somebody else who's talking about it. I've watched Kung do it. I've watched him do it. I've watched Dash do it. Actually, it might have been Dash talking about it the one day. I think it was Dash. And I've started doing it, although more so unintentionally. But and then about challenging, so let's say Venom's going to come out and challenge. He's going to come in and shoot. When I come out to challenge, all right, you have two hands. You want to use both of them. You actually have a head as well. You want to be using that too. All right. Now, you don't have to use your head consciously. You just need to make sure your face is in between his face and the goal. All right. You put your face right there because he might throw it at your head. And you might get a stop that way. But the other thing, you want to have one stun and one grab when you're coming out. And you want to set them up just like that. When you're coming out, when I come out, I do this instinctually at this point. I don't do it on purpose. It's just what it's I train myself to do it, and then I just do it now. And I come out,
hand do you
boom,
prefer
just
to
like
use?
that.
Which hand do you
Huh?
prefer to use for what? Like,
Left for grab, I'll explain why.
okay.
For a specific reason. Most shooters are right-handed. Most, not all, most. So, again, we're playing the odds. This is not about making every save. It's about making as many as you can. It's about setting up with the best statistical likelihood of making a save. Right? So I use the left hand because as you're coming in, and I've got that stun ready, I'm mirroring your other hand. I'm mirroring the shot hand. I am following it. That's my primary focus, is his shooting hand. Wherever it goes, I do the same thing with my other hand. I do it like a mirror, like we're looking at a mirror. I follow it. And it works. It works, it works, it works, it works, it works. It works. It is so strong. It is, in my opinion, it is stronger than sitting back and waiting. Especially if you do it, if you time it just right. Because the moment they cross that 2-point line, they're looking to shoot. If they're carrying that disc, unless they have a pass option over here, if they're coming in at you, if it's a one-on-one, they cross that line. That is them signing the contract that says, I'm about to shoot the disc. Right? That's how you time it. The moment they cross that line, the moment they make you that promise, bop, you pop out at them. Right? And that's how you make those the aggressive stops, the dive stop. Now, like everything in Echo Arena, there's a trade-off. There's a vulnerability to it. Let's say they do have that pass option, whether or not you know he's there. Let's say he has that pass option. If he's coming in, he might not be looking to shoot. He might be looking to pass. He might just be wanting to sell you on shoot. And the moment you pop out, you get right here, that goal is wide open for that pass option. That guy over there. Look at where Spider is. There's no way I'm making a save on that shot. No way in hell. And that's the danger of coming out. You have to be aware. You have to always be aware of where everybody is in your bubble. This is your house. You should know everybody who walks in the front door. You should know where they are when you're in the house. Are they in the bathroom? Are they in your bedroom? Are they going through your sock drawer? Because that guy down on the floor right there, he's rifling through your sock drawer. He's going to find all your dirty secrets. You need to know where he is. All right? Everybody that walks into your bubble, you need to know where they're at. So that's going to inform you, all right, that he has a pass option. He's coming in. No one's covering that pass option. Should I challenge? No. What you should then be doing, and so this will kind of take us into our next point, is diving. This is so I kept calling the other one diving. That's challenging. Diving, different skill. So let's say there's two of them set up. They've got a 2-on-1. Maybe it's not a 2-on-1. Maybe it's everybody's in the bubble and it's all chaos. But you know, he's got a guy right there who's looking for that cut pass. Right? That's harder to save. That's 1,000 times harder to save than a head-on pass or head-on shot. A cross pass to a shot is harder to save than a shot every single time, statistically. So again, we're back to playing the odds. Got to remember the numbers. Got to remember the statistic. I don't have real numbers. I just use generalities, but the cross pass shot is harder to save than a shot, which means don't go for the save. Right? You shouldn't be, I mean, ultimately you're going to be going for the save, but actually what you should be looking for is to cut off the cross pass. Look for the feed. You know, if you know he has a better shot of scoring than him, they probably know he has a better shot of scoring than him. So then you need to be watching for that cross pass because he might even try to sell you on the shot. He'll take it back like he's about to shoot on you and then pop. Send it to his partner. Buddy. So basically when you got that kind of situation, don't come at the challenge. You want to watch for that cut pass, and even if you want to, you can even set up for it. You know, let's say you're like me and you play on the rim, and he's got that cross pass option. Boom, I'm going to set up like this. Not only am I baiting him now to shoot right side, but I'm also in a better position to intercept that cross pass. So that's another important thing about the blocks here. I'll also actually I did it in a game yesterday. Guy was coming in high. He had a guy coming in to help him, like left post side. So knowing I could still get a good coverage on the goal from his shot, moved up to here. Because I was setting up for the cross pass. I wasn't setting up for the save anymore. I was setting up for the cross pass. So as he comes in, I'm now giving him a juicier looking goal. So he's more likely to shoot it now, which is better than the cross pass shot. And if he doesn't shoot it, I'm right in that lane. I get right there. So that's what you want to be using these for, is positioning. You want to be watching for those cross passes. You want to be able to make those stops. That's going to be the difference. Your save rate is not the difference between a good goalie and a great goalie, although that's part of it. The difference between a good goalie and a great goalie is reading the bubble, reading the passes, reading those send-ins, knowing where everybody is. And there's in that video, I got Kong making one of the best reads I've ever seen. Guy under him, completely uncovered. Guy over there, that guy's moving in. He's looking at the goal, man. He's telling Kong, I'm shooting the disc. He didn't say it, but he was telegraphing it. And Kong, though, didn't buy it for a moment. The moment that disc goes under him, Kong pops down, gets the interception, sends it out. His team gets a goal.
Beauty.
Oh, so gorgeous. It was such a great stop. Kong is actually a really good goalie, and I didn't know it until the last couple weeks. He's a really good goalie. So that's the thing about the blocks. You don't want to be using the blocks as a generally speaking, as a means to make saves. It's to make read. Mm-hmm. It's to get those intercept the cut passes. You know, like if you got a guy coming in here, he's got a cross pass there. Go ahead and move out to this block. Now he's more likely to get a backboard shot in. But that's going to be, you know what I mean? Like you're playing the off point. If you're waiting here, he's not going for the backboard shot. He's probably going to go for that cross pass, and that cross pass is going to be harder to save. So you pop out, move to here, wait for that shot. Basically tell him either take the shot or send the pass. Right, so that's a good example of what you're talking about. There's a play. So Kong was sitting here or there. I think it was here, actually. So Kong's here. No, he's over here. Right. That's a great view. Kong is right here. He's got a teammate in the tube. Here, he's got a teammate deep, like he's at that pyramid on the wall. Mm-hmm. And he's got a teammate on the bow tie. So Kong knows there's a defender in that tube between him and his teammate on the wall. So he knows that guy can't send it back, and that guy's about to get assaulted. So Kong on the back line tells his teammate, bow tie, bow tie. He's telling his teammate that his other teammate is open at bow tie. So this isn't so much what you're talking about, Venom, with like a strategic adjustment. This is just in the moment, Kong noticed, Kong knew he needed to get the disc back on the back line for the reset. He also knew he couldn't get it from the teammate that currently had it. But what he also saw was that his teammate was open there, and they had a lane. So Kong told that guy to pass it to that guy, and all he did was say, bow tie, or bow tie's open, bow tie's open. That's all he said. And that told his teammate to throw it to bow tie. And the moment that pass went off to bow tie, he started calling back pass, reset. Right? Kong saw in the moment he could get the disc from that guy to himself through that lane, and that's what they did, and they got the reset there. I don't know if they got the goal off it. They probably did. It's Joker. But that's the kind of stuff that I never did, and isn't at the level you're talking about. But still, if you're like me and you can't analyze during a game, that stuff you can do. Look for lanes. It's all about lanes. So yeah, as far as go ahead.
On defensive and goalie and the correlation between the two, when do you go out? How far do you go out, and do you go out?
Yes, you have to. Perma goalie is the worst meta to ever enter the meta. Perma goalie is not viable, not long term. You might be able to use perma goalie in the lower tiers, but once you're moving up, man, you cannot have a perma goalie. So this is going to be something. This is more of a general. And this is something I've been preaching a lot lately, especially to Toxin, is basically breaking down the arena into defensive zones, right? And there's 3. There are only, and Venom might disagree, although I don't think he will. There are only 3 defensive zones, and your team only has 2. Bubble and mid. That's it. All right, remember that. Bubble, mid, bubble. Those are your only defensive zones. All this stuff out here, I call it the field. This is not a defensive zone. You do not defend this area. You defend the team from getting through mid, or you defend them at your bubble. If they get through mid, you give them the field, you get back to bubble, right? So that's probably one of the easiest starting points on when to come out and when to go back. Is if they're not through mid yet, move up. Move up. Help defend mid. You know, I'm not saying move up all the way. I'm not saying pinch up. You know, I'm not saying go play forward. But maybe move up to bow tie. You know, maybe move up the station. Help defend mid. The moment they get through mid, or the moment they're getting a lane at mid for a shot, let's say, you know, they just set the pass here. This guy just picked it up. He's got an open lane at the goal. Your priority should be, one, getting back to goal, but two, getting into that lane. Get into that lane so he doesn't have an easy shot at the goal. That's how you get back. That's how you move back without keeping the goal vulnerable while also not staying in goal. Is be mindful of your line. Be mindful of the lane, the lane. Which is basically the line.
You basically keep the comm open when you're in defense and when you're in offense. Same thing. You're the one talking to your team when you guys are in defense, and you're the one talking to your team when they're in offense if you're positioned in mid.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're on offense and you're pushing up, you're probably playing back here, right? You're probably staying on that back line. You still have the eyes on the field.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the other thing about like what you're calling out, you also want to be conscious of. And I stole this phrase from Essend. From when we were on Nova together, numbers. You need to be aware of the numbers situation all the time. And what that means is, if you're on the back line here, that means your team only has 3 guys attacking the goal. Well, if you only got 3 guys attacking the goal and they got 4 guys in the bubble, your team's at a disadvantage. And so in your mind, you need to be saying to yourself, we're looking at a 3-on-4 or a 3-on-3.5, because the goalie's kind of counted as like half a person when they're in goal. We're looking at like a 3-on-3.5. That doesn't work out for us. So what do? Well, you can read, send it back to me. And the whole point, there's two purposes to the reset. One, to reset your attack, to reset the play. But two, when you're on that back line, let's say I'm on blue team and this is the back line, and you guys are all, you know, around that bubble defending it, and I get the disc here, I'll stop. You know, vet them how many times I would literally I'd take that pass and I would sit. And I would wait until someone started moving at me. And then I'd move up a little bit to encourage them to attack more, and then send that pass. You change the number situation. The moment if they send someone to you on the back line, you can hold them up on the back line and give your team a 3-on-2.5, or even better. Let's say that defender overcommits. Let's say you stun that guy out and you move ahead of him. You're now in a 4-on-2.5.
Exactly.
Your team is about to get a major advantage on that attack. And it's those situations, like that's when, if you're ever curious, like when should I push up on the bubble? There's a lot of nuance involved on this. Let's say, you know, you don't want to go in too hard because maybe a turnover happens and you need to play defense. But if they've got a defender behind you, this is one of the situations you can always depend on this. If they have a defender behind you and you're up here playing defense, forget that guy. Move up. Attack the bubble. You have a 4-on-2.5. You have a major advantage there, and if you don't press it, you're giving the other team a gift. Always press the advantage. Always press the advantage. Presuming you're in control of the disc. Yes, but I have one more major thing. Backside. And I don't mean backboard shots. I mean when they have a player with the disc on the backside and you've now turned around and you're looking at that guy. That feels like the most vulnerable position you're going to ever be in when you're playing goal. It's not. That is one of the strongest positions you will ever be in goal. You want to know why? It's all about the numbers. It's all about the numbers, baby. Right? It's all about the numbers. The vast majority of goals in Echo Arena come from right here. Right in front. The further away you get from front, the fewer goals you see on the goal. That's redundant, but you get what I'm saying. All right, now keep that in mind and turn it around. That spot does not exist behind the goal, right? Every single shot from behind the goal is a lower percentage scoring shot than one that comes from right in front. So when you're turned back behind the goal, you're looking to make a save here, you're in a better position than when you're making a save from the front side. This is better for you. It feels wrong. It feels like you're more vulnerable. You're not. You are stronger here than you are here, right? That's, again, not a rule, guideline, generally speaking. The thing to remember is every time they take a shot, they're not looking at this. They are not looking at this. They're looking at kind of a wavy nacho, a thin nacho. Right? They don't have the whole goal. They only have a portion of the goal. They have a smaller version of the goal, which means you have an easier job of making it's easier for you to make a save. You don't have nearly as much space to cover. It's easier to cover on the back. That's just something to keep in mind. I have started, the moment I changed my thinking about that, just my thinking, because every time I turned around, I went, oh man, I never make a save from here, and I never did. Until I went, you know what, that doesn't make sense. I should be able to make more saves back here than up here. Suddenly, I was catching about 50% of them. Probably not 50%, feels like 50%. Suddenly, I'm saving a lot more, because it's about the head game sometimes. Sometimes you just got to tell yourself, you got to remind yourself of what the actual situation is. And when you're blocking from behind, you have an advantage, more of an advantage than when you're trying to make a save from the front. So that's the last point, I think.
Okay. Perfect. I had one small little question for you. How do you approach players that come in for like dunks? When they're coming in here and they're all up on the goal.
They should have never gotten that close.
Yeah, that's all.
They should have never gotten that close. Like that's one of those things. If they've gotten themselves there, they deserve the goal. They shouldn't get that close.
Yep.
Because if they do it on a one-on-one, I should have challenged. Yeah. Right. If they walk it in, that means that they froze me in goal and then we're able to just get the grab there. So yeah, no. And if it's like an even situation, like 4v4 or whatever, probably there's not a whole lot you can do. That's basically your defender. Either one, you fail to intercept the pass to that guy who's hanging on the goal, or two, your defender failed you by letting that guy get to the goal. In my personal opinion.
Yep, no, I agree. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that's for any goalkeepers in here. Not all goals are your fault. Hardly any of them are, actually. Most of them are because of breakdowns in your defense. So you're just there to hopefully stop something, in case you can. So.
Hell, even if you're doing the right things, statistically speaking, offense has the advantage. Exactly. They're going to score more often than they don't, as long as they're making all the right choices.